Thanks everyone for tuning in. Please say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We have over 100 people are already logged in and more are entering at the moment. My name is Ryan. I'm with Halt the Harm Network, and I'll be offering technical hosting for this event. So I'm going to turn it over to our MC in just a moment. So just, starting things off here, saying hi, letting you know that I'm here, giving you a couple logistics here about the Community Sentinel Awards event today before we get started. So you can use the chat to engage in real time with everybody that's here. As you can see, folks are saying hi. Hello, Kelsey. Hey, Jenny, Matthew, Allison, Karen, Caro, Ranjana, a lot of people here. This is awesome. So any problems or if you get booted for any reason, you can email me, support@halttheharm.net. Today's event will be recorded, so we'll make sure to get that to you. In fact, the replay, the comments, seeing other members, staying connected after this event will all be happening in the discussion group. You've got the link in your email. We'll send that out again. In fact, we'll send all the notes, replays, and links and information about how you can get involved with the projects that the award recipients are running. All that stuff will be sent to you via email. So thank you again so much for being here live. It is so great to just be here together as a group in real time. So now I'm going to turn this over to our amazing host today, our MC, David Braun.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's truly an honor to be here with everyone. Thank you very much for all of your patience. I heard some of the folks that are on that are here with us this evening, and hello, all of my friends out there that I haven't spoken with in a while, and also those of you that I have spoken to recently. I love you and feel such a deep and profound connection with all of you and this work that we do. The shared values and the depth of this community is something that I'm deeply grateful to have in my life and to be a part of. So thank you all for giving my life so much worth in our relationships and the clean energy future that we're fighting towards. So bless you all. My name is David Braun. I am the director of Rootskeeper, which is a nonprofit fighting against the dangerous health and climate impacts caused by fracking and other forms of dangerous drilling and fossil fuel extraction. I'm also a founder of Americans Against Fracking and a proud board member of FracTracker. I would like to welcome you all to the 2020 Community Sentinel Awards for Environmental Stewardship. Tonight, I'm really, why not? It's, doing this, in this COVID age is quite different than, of course, what we've had for the past several years. And so I'm grateful to be here with you all tonight on this Zoom, coming into your homes or wherever it is you might be watching this from. And we have come together for the 6th Annual FracTracker Community Sentinel Awards for Environmental Stewardship to honor 4 recipients whose noble actions exemplify the transformative power of caring and who are committed and engaged people in the world and in their communities, fighting for that which has no greater importance, life itself. Each recipient, in addition to the award they are receiving, will be receiving $1,000. We selected this year's winners from a pool of 32 nominees from around the country, each one of those well-deserving and worthy of this award. Of course, the real winners here are all of you, well, all of us. It's really this powerful community of people with shared values and who believe and fight relentlessly for a vision of a different world that we are truly honoring tonight. It's the dedication day in and day out that this Sentinel Award is for. It's the work that no one sees, often in late hours of the evening or early hours in the morning, before people are going off to work or after they've come home. We volunteer our time, and you volunteer your time as grassroots warriors for water, for the air, for the environment, for your communities, for the children, and for the future generations. It's your thankless and tireless organizing that we are honoring here tonight. We see you, and we know that this movement will only be won with you. For me, I'm deeply grateful for you, and we at FracTracker are as well. Bless you and all you do. I'd like to take a moment for a land acknowledgement. We collectively acknowledge that the FracTracker Alliance, our partners, the award winners, and all present are living on the traditional, ancestral, and contemporary lands of Indigenous people. This country exists on land called home by many different peoples from time immemorial. This territory holds great historical, spiritual, and personal significance for its original stewards, the indigenous nations of this region, Turtle Island. We also recognize that colonialist structures have censored, removed, sorry, I'm just looking to see what my dog is chewing on. Not something you usually do in an award ceremony. We also recognize that the colonialist structures have censored, removed, and erased indigenous people, their cultures, and their contributions throughout history and into now. This continues to be the case for both recognized and also especially unrecognized, federally recognized tribes and nations. To act with this shared history in mind, we all have the responsibility to live with greater awareness, to acknowledge and think about the history and the legacy of these lands and their native peoples, to work for social and environmental justice, and to live as stewards of this land that we call home. We recognize and continually support and advocate the sovereignty and the perpetuity of the Native nations in Turtle Island and beyond. By offering this land acknowledgement, we affirm tribal sovereignty, honor their stewardship, and acknowledge that our work isn't over. And I'll add, and we are grateful for their understanding and forgiveness as we continue to blunder and say things that are offensive and inappropriate when we are not working with all of our minds, or at least not completely understanding all of the sensitivities at hand. For everyone within the sound of my voice, please take this message to heart and always keep this in mind when working with the Native peoples of this land. Tonight, I'm speaking to you from stolen Ohlone land. The FracTracker Alliance supports a myriad of groups from grasstops to grassroots across the United States, addressing pressing extraction-related concerns with a lens towards health effects and exposure risks in communities from oil and gas development. They provide timely and provocative data, groundbreaking analysis, maps, and other visual tools to help advocates, researchers, and the concerned public better understand the harms posed by hydrocarbon extraction. We lean on them for their data and analysis in countless areas. And as the Sentinel Awards program is coordinated by FracTracker, I'd like to take a quick moment to acknowledge the hard work that they do. Without good data and hard facts, there is no movement. And that's the space that FracTracker occupies. We rely on their tireless analysis, and data mining is the backbone of our campaigns. This work is absolutely essential. And that is why I serve and have served for, I think, 5 years now, proudly on their board. Of course, all of this is happening, it has been happening a lot longer than I've been on the board of FracTracker. and has been happening under the steady and strong leadership of Brooke Lenker, their executive director, who I consider not only a colleague, but also a friend. It is my pleasure to introduce him now. Brooke.
Well, thank you, David. And likewise. And hi, everyone. It's thrilled to be with you all this evening. I'm humbled to be on the virtual stage this evening with such courageous and inspirational people. FracTracker Alliance is proud to coordinate this annual program, made possible by the support and collaboration of numerous sponsors and partners. All of them share our passion for celebrating the countless heroes in the movement for environmental justice and liberation from the incessant harms of fossil fuels and petrochemicals, upstream to downstream. Before we continue with this special evening, I wanted to give hearty thanks to our helpers and collaborators in their varied roles. Feel free to clap and cheer loudly from wherever you're tuned in tonight. First, I want to recognize Marty Kearns, Ryan Clover, and the Halt the Harm Network for their technical and promotional assistance and their stellar ability to connect our movement. To our sponsors, the 11th Hour Project and the Heinz Endowments. To our partners, Better Path Coalition, Breathe Project, Center for Coalfield Justice, Climate Reality Project, Crude Accountability, Earthworks, Fair Shake Environmental Legal Services, Food and Water Watch, Foundation for Pennsylvania Watersheds, Mountain Watershed Association, Ohio River Valley Institute, Ohio Valley Environmental Coalition, Physicians for Social Responsibility, Plastic Pollution Coalition, Poor People's Campaign, Rootskeeper, Sierra Club Pennsylvania, Southwest Pennsylvania Environmental Health Project, and Young Voices for the Planet. It's quite a lineup. Thanks to our fabulous judges, Mary Aguilera, Mia Reback, Katie Valenzuela, Christine Yellow Thunder, to the nominators and record 32 nominees, to our esteemed keynote speaker, Reverend Dr. Ambrose Carroll, to the 4 people who will soon introduce our 4 winners respectively, to those very valiant winners, to our MC par excellence, David Braun, to tonight's prelude musician, Barry Smith, to the FracTracker Board of Directors and staff, especially Shannon Smith, energetic manager of communications and development, who is largely responsible for bringing this program to fruition this year. And last but not least, to all of you for being present tonight, for appreciating the winners, and being an abounding link in the solidarity that binds us together. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. It is an honor to be with you here this evening, Brooke. You know, again, just grateful for the work that you do. We're going to now, sorry, I just lost myself in my script. Hi, this is my favorite moment. Indeed, thank you very much, Chloe. It's tough to, we've done this award ceremony with applause because we're interacting, but to have everyone be silent tonight is it's different. So you feel like you're kind of talking into a black hole a little bit, even though you all are responding. So feel free to, keep chatting into the chat if you'd like, folks, because, it's just good to know you're out there and that we are here together. And, someone who really deeply reminds me of togetherness is our keynote speaker for this evening. He is, you can't even put someone who is this important in terms of the work he does and as an individual and with the love that he carries in his heart into words. But I'm attempting to. And I have been fortunate enough to work with him on a few different things and participate with some of his work with the Green the Church organization and campaign that he runs, which is bringing Black churches and churches in general into being energy efficient and making sure that they are ahead of the curve when it comes to energy and renewable energy and clean energy and sustainability. But I've not only worked with him on that. If some of you folks out there within the sound of my voice saw the movie Faith Against Fracking, you would have seen him there as well. And also leads. So I would recommend seeing that. I have to check. I believe that I can share the movie, I think, here in the chat if you haven't seen it. And we'll do that momentarily. And he also is a leader in the church by the side of the road. But I am fortunate enough to call him a friend. So with that and no further ado, let me please introduce the Reverend Dr. Ambrose Carroll. Good evening, Pastor. It's wonderful to have you here.
Good evening, my friend, and blessings to each and every one of you. So very glad to be in the house on tonight. Keep your hand on the plow. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your hand on the plow. Hold on. This is no time to play, to dream, to drift. We have hard work to do and loads to lift. Shun not the struggle, for the struggle, I tell you, is the gift. Be strong. Indeed, to my friend and brother, my homeboy from Oakland, California, Mr. David Braun, our program mover, we thank God for him and for his energy on tonight. His energy gives me calm. Indeed, so very glad to be here, to FracTracker and to all of the sponsors of this Sentinel Awards. I very much appreciate your work and the purpose of mine to honor those who stand on the wall of protection for their communities. Thank you for including me for these brief minutes to lend my voice in encouraging those who are called out to speak up and to stay on the wall, to be a sentinel, to be a protector of community, to hear the call that calls all humanity together. To the honorees, Edith, Yvette, Theresa, BJ, this evening, in keeping with the Christian notion of Advent, we don't mind, that says that the world was in darkness, when the world was furthest from the SUN of God, that there stood one John the Baptist, a voice crying in the wilderness, standing and proclaiming that the Son of God was on his way back to the created order. I say this evening as a voice crying in the wilderness that as we move into the winter solstice and towards December 25th, the darkest day of the year, that these honorees have also been sent to a world and to communities that are laden in darkness, and that they carry within them tonight lights that shine so very bright. Tonight, I just want to say to our honorees that in the midst of COVID-19 and in the wake of a traumatic presidential election, that in a time of perpetual darkness, that you are in the world, letting your light shine, fighting for the health and safety of your communities. Come on, let's give our honorees a heartfelt hand tonight. It might be silent, but come on, let's give it up. You can type congratulations in the chat. Come on, somebody encourage them tonight. We are so very thankful for all that you do. Now, as previously stated, my name is Ambrose Carroll, and I am the proud pastor of the church by the side of the road in Berkeley, and that is the name and not the address. I'm also the founder of Green the Church, and I'm a resident here in Oakland, California. But my family is originally from Hollywood, Holly, Louisiana, down in the woods. And in 1867, 2 years after the emancipation of slavery, the St. Mark Baptist Church was established for newly freed Negroes in Holly. A group of families purchased over 100 acres of land and sectioned a few acres off for the church and the cemetery. My maternal grandfather was from just up the road, same county or parish, in a place called Kingston, Louisiana, where it is believed that slaves had been bought from Jamaica. In DeSoto Parish, cotton and sugar cane were king crops. And we labored as slaves for 400 years. And then we labored as sharecroppers for another 100 years. But we lived with our hands in God's black soil, and we ate fresh vegetables and bitter herbs. We did not know what food-like substances were back then. We drank the pot liquor from the collard greens and grew strong like Popeye the Sailor Man. It reminds me of a stanza written by Langston Hughes. America, America, God shed God's grace on thee. Crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Yes, I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I eat and grow strong. And I laugh, ha ha ha. For tomorrow, I'll be at the table when company comes, and they won't dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed, for I too am America. Oh yes, in Holly, Louisiana, DeSoto Parish, we were poor, but oftentimes we did not know it. In 1977, when my family and I would travel back, my dad was an itinerant Baptist preacher. We lived in different places in the country, but we would always go home for the summer. When I would travel home as a kid, there was no running water in my grandparents' home, a home that the elders built with their own hands. 1977, there was a well on the property that was the center for living, a deep well. I remember hearing the water moving deep down within it. I watched my cousins come down from their house to the well to draw water in the afternoon for the meal and to draw water in the evening for the evening bath. The water was so sweet and the water was so pure. No running water on Carroll land. However, our Caucasian neighbors had oil wells pumping on adjacent property next door. Well, today DeSoto Parish is home to the Haynesville Shale. The Haynesville Shale came into prominence in 2008 as a major producer of shale gas in East Texas and Louisiana. Producing natural gas from the Haynesville Shale involves drilling wells from 10,000 feet and 13,000 feet deep into the Earth's core. In 2008, the Haynesville Shale was thought to be the largest natural gas field in the contiguous 48 states, with an estimated 250 trillion cubic feet of recoverable gas. The U.S. Energy Information Administration estimated that the average well would produce 2.67 billion cubic feet of gas. Production has boomed since 2008, creating a number of new millionaires in Shreveport, Louisiana region. The fracking of the Haynesville well has produced millionaires, I suppose, but I don't know any. Black folk land is caught up in air property. And when many signed leases, they understood oil drilling, but they knew nothing about fracking and the devastation that fracking would cause. None of my family works in the industry. There was no job creation in DeSoto Parish for individuals who worked as slaves there. But there has been gentrification. In fact, there has been sickness. There has been pre-pandemic a sense of a plague. Last week, my cousin Cookie died of cancer at age 65. My dear mother, who lives there, is now a breast cancer survivor at 79. We moved her from a toxic Bay Area Bayview Hunters Point in San Francisco, where my mother-in-law passed away from brain cancer at 56. We struggle in Oakland, California, where I live presently, in West Oakland, amid freeways, trucks, planes, trains, and automobiles, shipyard, and other toxic waste, where my 12-year-old son suffers from asthma. Did I tell you that the water in Holly, it used to be so very sweet and the land very pure? But now the trucks are destroying the roads. The fracking platforms are destroying the land, and the benzene sets the water on fire if you light a match to it coming out of the faucet in your kitchen. The water was so sweet in Holly, Louisiana, and now my mother buys bottled water in Holly, Louisiana. She says, son, no, don't drink that. Yes, beloved, it's a pretty dark time for God's created order. But I thank what is divine for these honorees tonight. I said, I'm thankful. I said, I know it's dark, and yet I'm thankful. I'm thankful for those who give voice. I am thankful for those sentinels who stay on the wall. In closing, there's a story in the biblical writ about a layman named Nehemiah. I'm taking my text. Y'all know I am a Baptist preacher. This usually takes about an hour. Let me see if I can do it in an Episcopalian way tonight. Let me see. Nehemiah could be seen on the rocky hills of Jerusalem, straddled across a wall of stone with his hands on his sword, surrounded by his enemies. But brother Nehemiah could not come down. Nehemiah was like our honorees, a sentinel. A sentinel is a soldier or guard whose job it is to stand and keep watch. People from the outside of his community wanted him to come down to play a little game of let's make a deal. They wanted to see if he would give up his fight, if the price was right, if you know what I mean. But Nehemiah could not come down. He'd gotten up on that wall, you see, and he could not come down. Not only did people want him to give up, but some people wanted him to give in. The biblical text says that the priest of the temple wanted him to come down off of that wall for his own safety. The priest said, man, you can hide in the temple if it gets too rough out there for you. You see, Nehemiah looked at the priest and said, no, I can't give in. You see, he had gotten up on that wall and Nehemiah could not come down. For you see, Nehemiah was not just on that wall, protecting the wall. For with one hand, he held the sword, but with the other hand, he was packing wet cement on top of that wall. Nehemiah could not come down from the wall because Nehemiah was building that wall. He was fortifying his city. Was doing a great work for his community. He had gotten up on that wall and he could not come down. Awardees, tonight, that's all I've stopped by to say. We just wanted to stop tonight before the end of 2020 and say to you that you are doing a great work for your community, a great work for your nation, a great work for all of the groaning creation. You're doing a great work. Don't come down. Don't ever give in and don't ever give up. You're doing a great work in North Braddock, Pennsylvania. Don't come down. You're doing a great work in Houston, Texas, in Detroit, Michigan. Don't come down. You're doing a great work in Fairmont, West Virginia. Don't give up and don't give in. Don't come down. Sometimes I think about giving up. Sometimes I thought about throwing in the towel, but then I remember brothers and sisters who are gunned down by gun violence. I remember individuals who are 13 and 14 years old out on the streets. I remember that as the world turned, that many still live in perpetual darkness. And I said to myself, don't ever give up and don't ever give in. Stay on the wall. Thank you so much tonight. Let's honor these honorees in a great way. Keep your hand on the plow. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your hand on the plow. Hold on. Blessings.
I'm just gonna keep going for as long as this should be going for, because that was good. I think that's enough to definitely get me through it. Maybe, I don't know, 2025 or something like that, but I don't know, it might be rough. But, you know, God bless you, Reverend Carol, and thank you very much for joining and being with us here this evening and sharing your thoughtful words and your wise words, and for bringing the love. You know, for really bringing the love. So grateful to you for so many reasons, but that's a new one. So, all right, moving along. We are now going to get a preview of the award winners and their stories via an incredible video created by Shannon Smith, the communications director of FracTracker. I hope we have it all queued up. So thank you again to Shannon Smith for that very well done video that gives us a deeper window into our award winners this evening. Well done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move into the awards section of the program this evening. I will be introducing giving the introductions for presenters of the awards who have had the pleasure of working in communities with the individuals who are with our award winners this evening. And the first person that I get to introduce is Tom Torres, who is the director of Sierra Club for the Pennsylvania chapter, who will be giving Edith's Award this evening. Good evening, Tom. So nice to have you here.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for that. Hi, folks. My name is Tom Torres, and I'm coming to you from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm the director of the Sierra Club's Pennsylvania chapter, and I have the great honor of saying a few words about Edith Abeyta, my not quite neighbor to the east in North Braddock. For those of you who have not been following the news today, you might know that there's an exciting update to share, but I ask that you hold off on any chats about this to allow Edith to share herself with us tonight. I first met Edith earlier this year when she attended a meeting of the state's Environmental Justice Advisory Board. Edith had driven several hours to the offices of the Department of Environmental Protection to speak on behalf of the community group she's a part of, North Braddock Residents for Our Future. Edith and her neighbors had been fighting a proposed frack gas well in North Braddock in East Pittsburgh, an area inundated with over a century of industrial pollution and home to many poor and working class Black and white residents. The previous year, they were able to secure a historic public meeting in their community, a meeting attended by officials and industry representatives to discuss the proposed fracking well. Of course, they worked tirelessly and packed the meeting with hundreds of residents and supporters, voicing their concerns and opposition to this disastrous fossil fuel project and sending a strong message that echoed across the state, that Pennsylvanian residents deserved a better future. I had corresponded with Edith and other members of her group several times over the last 2 years, and so I was very glad that I was able to meet her in person for the first time. So there Edith was in Harrisburg with a list of requests and fresh off the heels of a recent victory, seeing the end of the project's local conditional use permit, an essential step in the project's approval. Over the last several years, Edith and her neighbors had researched, organized, built coalitions, ran and won elections, found alignment through difference, held meetings, called officials, and ultimately helped strengthen the fight against fracking in southwestern Pennsylvania, as well as in her community. This day, in Edith's request to elevate the needs of her community to the DEP, was just one milestone in the years-long effort on the part of the North Braddock Residents for a Future, but it was memorable to me for a few reasons. After the meeting, Edith met up with me and one of our staff to connect over a cup of tea. It was a familiar mix of work and community building, as I had heard a lot about Edith and wanted to learn more about her. I learned that Edith is an artist, a fierce environmental and racial justice advocate, and someone with a deep commitment to the people around her. This meeting in late February, earlier this year, coincidentally, ended up being one of the last times I was able to sit down with an almost complete stranger, as a few weeks later, the world changed and we saw the beginning of the global pandemic, a crisis that has left no community untouched. I remember walking back with to the office with our staff person, my dear friend Chantel, who I think is on tonight, and asking her what she thought about Edith and her work. I'm sure Chantel said a lot of wonderful and insightful things that I can't remember at the moment, but one thing she said that stuck with me was this: Edith is an incredible person, and I can't believe what she and her community have had to deal with. I hope one day I can say I've given half as much as Edith has to the world. Chantel, I feel the same way. Thank you, Edith, for that memory, that bit of hope, and of course, for everything you've done for your community and for all Pennsylvanians. Very proud to know you and to introduce you tonight.
I can't hear.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, thanks, Tom, for the amazing introduction. Me being on mute sort of helped me gain some composure, so thank you. Thank you all for attending this evening's event. I'd also like to really extend a giant heartfelt congratulations to BJ, Theresa, and Yvette for their incredible work. Definitely an inspiration to me, and I think to everybody on this call. So one of the reasons why, Tom, I'm sorry, I'm just really upset in a good way. It's just been really powerful and emotional. And as I was saying when I was on mute, nervousness and joy cause these tears. So the reason why Tom asked for no spoiler alerts in this chat is so that I could share with you all some really incredible news that came today. And it was announced today on the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection's website. And I'm just going to quote directly from the letter. The department is suspending its review of the pending well permit and ESCGP-3 applications unless and until Marion obtains zoning approval from the appropriate governmental entity to construct and operate the facility. Yeah. So I just encourage everyone to just linger in this moment and celebrate this victory, which is incredibly amazing. Yeah, I mean, I think it's, as Dr. Ambrose said, and as Mr. Braun said, it's difficult to kind of be celebrating alone with my husband here without you all. But this is just so powerful and such good news. So I'm just going to try to continue. I only have 5 minutes and I've used a lot of it just kind of crying here. So, you know, as people mentioned earlier, this can be, this is, you know, this, even just celebrating the victory, it can be difficult to do because we know that all these victories are years, decades, and sometimes centuries in the making. And that for those of us, I'm just so sorry. And that for those of us living and working in frontline communities, our efforts, endurance, and persistence must be maintained. Because the work we all are doing is not for us alone. It's for our loved ones, our neighbors, our adjacent communities, our ancestors, and the people, animals, and plants and land still to come. So how did we do it? You know, how did North Braddock Residents for Our Future, an all-volunteer grassroots, non-hierarchical group of neighbors and allies, using money we raised through garage sales, defeat the oil and gas industry? You know, my answer to that question is not alone. It has been through collaboration, partnership, and working together with our neighbors and allies in our homes, in the streets, libraries, community centers, universities, and countless legal and government agencies. And once again, you know, to refer to what Dr. Ambrose said, it's like, it's before you go to work, it's after you go to work. It's sometimes missing work so that you can do this. There are so many people that I would like to thank, which would probably take the rest of the evening to do, especially since I'm crying uncontrollably. But most importantly, I would like to thank Leslie, Nika, Jan, Tony, and John. We have been working together since 2013 on making sure frac wells do not add to the burden we already endure by having a neighbor as a major source polluter. I would also like to acknowledge the contributions and courage of the East Pittsburgh Borough Council, in particular Stacy Simon, Jonathan Reyes, and Mary Carroll, as well as the East Pittsburgh Zoning Board for standing up and supporting the communities and region they represent. Lastly, I'd like to call out one person in particular, Megan McDonough, the Food and Water Watch. She is the first person who explicitly told North Braddock Residents for Our Future that we can live in our neighborhoods without frac pads and wells. It is in close partnership with Megan that we are celebrating the suspension of review of Marion's permits because the East Pittsburgh Borough Council and Zoning Board stood up to this wealthy New Mexico family that wants to increase their wealth by polluting and damaging our lives, land, animals, plants, and the rivers. Thank you to all, thank you to you all for this amazing acknowledgement and recognition. I am using the $1,000 that you all have given me, despite many people saying I shouldn't, to contribute to our legal fund to fight the appeals that Marion is still waging against us. So all I could say is please join us in our efforts to keep the Mon Valley frack free. And yeah, I love you all and thank you so much.
You know, everyone out there is feeling this.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Congratulations, Edith. It's just extraordinary. And I mean, to have this award be received today is it's a miracle, I guess, right? All right, keeping things moving. Our next award for Theresa Landrum of Detroit, Michigan will be presented by Dr. Ted Uck, the Great Lakes Program Coordinator for the FracTracker Alliance. Hello, Dr. Ted.
Hello, David. Thank you for those amazing words at the outset, and for Reverend Carol, that was really moving to everyone. I've been asked to say a couple words about Theresa, but if I'm being honest, I wanted to say a couple words about Theresa because I've joined officially her fan club. She's an amazing person that I've gotten to know over the last, well, since COVID hit. Theresa is a proud resident of Detroit's 48217 zip code, which is one of the most polluted in the country on the southwest tip of the city. It also includes River Rouge and Ecorse. Those communities are suffering as well. She's a member of the original United Citizens of Southwest Detroit. The plaudits could go on and on and on, but needless to say, she's a lifelong resident of Detroit, and this zip code has been inundated with all sorts of bad actors, and she, to paraphrase Reverend Carol, she's been standing on that wall this whole time. I've only known her for a couple of months by way of a friend of ours who's fighting sand mining just south of Detroit, Doug Wood, but since knowing her, it's been a real pleasure of mine to learn from her. Theresa has educated hundreds of advocates, residents, and elected officials on the true costs of industrial pollution and environmental racism, and I count myself for sure as one of those people. She has led a number of public pressure campaigns to decrease harmful emissions and other impacts from industrial sites, such as oil refineries, coal-fired power plants, steel manufacturers, and sand mines. She leads countless numbers of environmental justice tours that educate and inspire others to take meaningful action, and I've been a member of several of those in the last 6 to 7 months. Theresa is a tireless advocate for the environmental justice, whose efforts ensure that residents in impacted communities are rightfully recognized as experts in determining what's best for their health and well-being. And I'd also like to say on a personal note, having gotten to know Theresa over the past year, it's become really clear to me that there really is not a more authentic, fearless, or persistent advocate for one's community and against corporate bullying and corporate crimes than Theresa anywhere that I've seen. She's just an amazing human being, a force of nature. Also, I have to say that having worked with Theresa periodically over the last 6 to 7 months, I can honestly say that I am a better person for having known her. I think I'm a better husband, a better friend, a better parent, yada, yada, all because of, partially because of my interactions with her. But most importantly, I'm a better person for having listened to her. Her insight into all manner of things has really been, had a profound impact on me. Theresa, she's one of those rare people that really sees all the chess pieces in real time and how they're moving. And she calls out people and she'll keep you in check and she keeps you honest. And I hope that she'll let me interact with her over the next however many years, and she can keep me honest whenever she wants. So with that, I'd like to present to you all one of Detroit's finest, Theresa Landrum. Theresa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ted. And I want to say thank you to Edith. Edith, you had me crying up here. And I'm just amazed at the wonderment of your energy and your passion. So I would like to first begin by saying, congratulations, Edith. Congratulations, Brenda Jo, and congratulations, Yvette. I am grateful and humbled to be recognized along with you dynamic warriors. I also want to thank the people that nominated me, who thought I was worthy, and that is Doug and Don Wood. And those that have joined tonight to support me for this honor, I thank you so much. Lastly, I would like to thank FracTracker for elevating our work on a national level as we fight for frontline communities against pipeline, environmental racism, air pollution, fracking, water pollution, strip mining, and the destruction of indigenous lands, and much more. That is creating irreversible man-made harm. And I stress irreversible man-made harm to Mother Earth, which has thrust us into a climate crisis. Now we frontline communities are facing a deadly health crisis as we battle disproportionate cases of COVID-19 among our residents because of the heavy pollution that surrounds us and impacts our daily lives. This platform that FracTracker and Halt the Harm brings us, it brings us together and let us use our voices, our talents, and our hands. We are the keepers. We are here to protect, inform, and act. It reveals how environmental justice connects to everything, no matter where we live or who we are. What impacts me impacts you. What impacts you impacts me. Our environmental work is so important because it crosses all boundaries and all cultures. It addresses the need of all people to stand up for what is right for our environment. It shows us that whatever our role, whatever our gift, whatever our talent, whatever our skill, it is worth something. We each have something to contribute. The word sentinel, as mentioned, means guard. And in our work as activists, we are protectors. We are the keepers. We are the stewards of Mother Earth. We speak for others that are unable to speak. We fight for others that are unable to fight. Frontline community activists, we are a small group and we're so few. But we face many of the same challenges. And we have been mostly working on our own in silos. And to me, that is a challenge we have to overcome. So in essence, we have to cross that road of working in silos to working nationally and for holistic coming together of how we can work on healing Mother Earth. Right now, the world is in an all hands on deck emergency. The time has come that we must come together and work together collectively across the nation and across the world to arrest climate change. FracTracker and Halt the Harm websites and this acknowledgement are avenues that provide much needed opportunities for activists to meet, to network with other activists from across the states, to come together as a team to achieve a common goal. And if we can achieve this goal, then we can change the meaning of the word team to mean togetherness empowers all mankind. We know that saving one community will not change the world, but for that community, the world will change forever. So in the undoable words of Senator John Lewis, let's get in some good trouble with some good people for a good reason. And lastly, once again, I want to thank all of you that have joined via Facebook and via the platform through this link to support the work that we do, because it takes all of us. And when we hear that phrase, we're all in this together, activists have one point in mind, I'm sure, that when that is said, that we make sure frontline communities are at the table and have a voice. We want to be the decision makers for ourselves because we are the experts, because we live it every day. We breathe it every day. and we suffer it every day. So thank you to FracTracker for this beautiful Sentinel Award that has been given to me. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for this acknowledgement, because this acknowledgement tells me that the work that we have done here in Detroit, the work that is being done in West Virginia, the work that's being done in Pennsylvania, the work that's being done in Texas is being acknowledged. So once again, thank you, FracTracker, for the Sentinel Award. Thank you.
And thank you, Theresa, for the inspiration, and keep fighting, and God bless you.
Thank you.
This is what, I mean, this whole event, I think, you know, I'm going to have enough energy to go through 2028 now. You know, it's just, it's an honor to touch and know you all. Okay, moving on. Our next award is going to be introduced and presented by Elena Sorkina. Hope I just pronounced that correctly.
Right, yes.
They did well, good. Communications Manager of Crude Accountability. It is nice to see you again. Thank you so much for joining with us this evening to present this award. Take it away.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Elena, and I work for Crude Accountability. We work with communities that are impacted by oil and gas development in the Caspian and the Black Sea region. This is the former Soviet Union space. It seems to be really far away from here, but it's much closer to West Virginia than it seems. And I'm going to explain why. So several years ago, Crude Accountability conducted an investigation to a Russian coal transportation facility off the coast of the Black Sea. That investigation took us all the way from Russia to West Virginia. So as it turned out, that a Russian coal mining company was conducting the harmful practices of mountaintop removal in West Virginia and was hugely profiting off the dangerous practices. So while a Russian oligarch was keeping his pockets full, the people and the environment of West Virginia were suffering from those dangerous, harmful effects of strip coal mining and mountaintop removal. And all while being fed the tales that this is all in the name of economic development and potential job opportunities. And this is for the business growth in the region, while the profits and the money didn't even stay in this country. They went somewhere else. So this is all to say that fossil fuel, coal mining is a major superpower, major force, but so is the solidarity and the friendship that we all have and that we build together in this fight for environmental justice. With all that, I'm so honored today to introduce you the true champion of environmental movement, Brenda Jo McManama, who did so much to stop mountaintop removal and strip coal mining practices in West Virginia. Brenda Jo, or BJ, has worked on the front lines of environmental justice for over 25 years. And she's famous for connecting people of different backgrounds and different geographies, like look at us today, to support those who suffer from poverty and pollution of the fossil fuels and petrochemicals. BJ is actively involved in the Indigenous Peoples' Rights Movement, and she has been working in the Indigenous Environmental Network in different capacity for over 16 years. In recent years as a campaign organizer. In 2019, as mentioned earlier, she brought Native Americans from Standing Rock and beyond to Pittsburgh to conduct a water ceremony and a demonstration of resistance against the Convention of the Marcellus Shale Coalition. She also contributes to Keep It in the Ground campaign. She's a steering committee member of the International Stop GE Trade campaign and serves on the POPCO steering committee as a West Virginia representative. So I'm I never had the privilege of meeting PJ in person, but I'm sure we have a lot with her to discuss and to talk about. And we have a lot of work behind and ahead of us. With all that, I'm happy to give the stage to Brenda Jo McManama, the winner of the 2020 FracTracker Sentinel Award.
Thank you so much, Elena. That was beautiful. And yes, I hope we do meet very soon. These times are really tough because we're missing that connection eye to eye and being in the same place. So I want to thank everyone tonight. Naiwenska no, for all the good people joining us this evening to celebrate the people that I shared this honor with. And I have a deep appreciation for everyone who tirelessly and with unwavering dedication, the people who are at the heart and soul of the FracTracker Alliance. Without them, this celebration wouldn't be taking place. And I'm going to get kind of teary too. I'm sorry. I practice, but it just never seems to work for me. So over the last few years, I've had the benefit of FracTracker's knowledge and insight, the data they compile for us and the images that clearly document the devastation the coal, oil, and gas industry has done to our homelands. I know it's got to take its toll on them too. It does to me. I've been down and seen the mountaintop removal. I've seen the oil wells out in North Dakota, and it's just heartbreaking. And I know it does take a toll on them too as they travel our lands and document all of the loss that was once fertile and beautiful landscapes. My heart is full tonight. My gratitude is just overflowing. Words, David, Reverend, everyone, Theresa, everyone, Yvette, Edith, there's just really no words. All of your good words clearly convey the love of this community. And you can see you bring grateful tears and a groundswell of energy, and it will help me carry on. And we're all doing what we need to do in order to save what's left. And we've got to repair and renew as much as possible that's been damaged so that our children and our grandchildren, the 7 generations to come, can live in peace and good health. And yes, this is what I do this for too, my children and my grandbabies. There are a few, if any, words that convey the depth of my gratitude to the sisters I share this honor with. Again, Yvette, Theresa, and Edith. And the other nominees, you all deserve this honor, and those that have gotten this award in previous years. And I'm here to promise that I will work even harder so that I continue to live up to this recognition. And this evening, I also want to recognize my IN family, who without 16 years of their support, their patience and gratitude, their teachings, and how they live every day, I wouldn't be here. And how I'm still motivated because of how they teach me to survive in both worlds. We know how difficult it is some days here to maintain and thrive in vastly different situations. They've taught me the importance of being accountable to my communities, to all of you here, and to my ancestors, to be respectful and kind, and to ensure the voices of the most impacted communities are at the forefront of our work. And I especially want to thank my IN sisters who are stepping up with grace and dignity and power, teaching us women to take our rightful places as leaders of our communities. And tonight I'd like to invite you all to go to our website, inearth.org, click on Indigenous Feminisms, and watch the discussions on different social and cultural issues of the time. They are honoring and following tradition, living up to our responsibilities. In our old ways, the women had important roles to play in the success of our peoples. It was the balance of power between the feminine and the masculine. And I thank all my brothers here tonight. The teachings shared with me over the years are another example of the importance of maintaining balance in all things. I want to thank all my A to Z, my OVEC, my Popco sisters who freely give me courage and energy. Their patience and wisdom and they are at the heart and soul of the work we do. I would be remiss if I didn't give thanks to all the people who I've met and worked with over the years. I'd like to name each and every one, but I know I might forget someone, and that would just be unforgivable. You all know who you are. I love and respect each and every one of you. And although the work we do, we wish we didn't have to do, I look forward to all the times that we may be together again, that we can share our energies, our humor, share a meal. And at some point in the future, I invite you all to share stories around a gentle and warming campfire. As Indigenous people, we respect and honor all creation, especially our brothers, our sisters, and our neighbors. Our teachings are a gift from all those who've journeyed before us, and it is our responsibility to pass on these gifts to the next generations. These lands, our Turtle Island and all that lies within them, are our identity, our history, our connection to our ancestors, our stories, and our history are place-based. Our ancestors are now part of these lands. Place provides the basis of the circular nature of time, direction, and identity. And it should go without saying, but land and resources should not be commodities to be bought and sold. We have to reject the placing of dollar values on water, air, forests, plains, and mountains. When we say that nature is a healthy environment has value, we're talking about the value of sustaining life, not how much it can be traded on the New York Stock Exchange. Just the other day, there were several reports of water being traded on the markets. And why? Because we're running out of fresh water. Water is not an infinite resource. Nothing we've been given, not even the air, is infinite when we abuse and destroy it. There's a saying that my husband reminds me of a lot these days, given the lies and dishonesty that has become so pervasive and makes our work even more difficult, that we will respectfully listen to you. We'll hear your words, but we will know you by your actions. And all here tonight, I know you by your actions, and I love you all. To be Indigenous, we're taught that all life is a gift from those who've come before us, and it's also shared with those who journey with us, to you all listening this evening. And it's our responsibility to pass on that knowledge. We're gifted to those who travel this path with us. We know, or should, that everything we do has consequences. We depend on the gifts of Creator, of Mother Earth and Father Sky. Without them, we cease to exist, and that goes for our non-human family, of which we depend on to do their part. And it is their right to exist in peace and harmony as well. We need much more discussion on the rights of nature, the rights of Mother Earth, and all citizens of Earth. Humans are one tiny part of all of this, but we are the ones that take the most, take what is not ours to take, and we need to stop destroying all that keeps us alive. We also need to stop promoting false solutions that aren't solutions, or even worse, if we do nothing, if we use them. And it's difficult to continue resistance against the actions for people who so easily dismiss the lives they've harmed, who reject their responsibility as part of the human family, and they have no relationship with anyone or anything but money, power, and are controlled by their ego. So once again, I want to thank the organizers of tonight's event. It's a welcome respite and a chance to celebrate each other, remind ourselves why we do this every day. So I'll close for now, but I invite you to contact me in the campaign network, or you can find my email on ienearth.org. And you're welcome to hit me up with questions or just a hi and how you doing. May everyone, all your loved ones, be well, safe. No. Those are Seneca words of greeting that conveys that I am thankful you are all well. Good night to all. Thank you.
Thank you. It was so beautiful. I feel like I'm like a sponge right now, just kind of soaking up lots of love and beauty and strength and courage. And what we're facing and what we're up against is something that people of lesser courage wouldn't do. But we do this day in and day out. We stand up because life is precious and water is life. The air we breathe that fills our lungs is essential. And these are things that we can't do without. So I'm so grateful to your work, BJ. Thank you so much. Now, moving on. Last but not, and I want to just remind everyone that once we get through the award ceremony, that we are going to have breakout rooms, and you're going to be able to hang out with the awards winner that you so choose, or I think that you may be able to actually go back and forth. I'm not sure how this is all going to work. I think we'll hear from Ryan in a minute about that in that process. So I just wanted to say that before we get to the end of the awards portion. We have a few more things to do before we get to the breakout rooms. But last but not least, Yvette Arellano of Houston, Texas, has won an award and is actually up to something very interesting now that she's newly doing. But of course, I know her from Tejas. Doing her introduction is Jackie Nunez, who is the Advocacy Program Manager at the Plastic Pollution Coalition. Oh, Jackie.
Hello, thank you. Thank you so much. So great to be here. Like I said, my name is Jackie Nunez. I'm also the founder of the Last Plastic Straw and most recently Advocacy Program Manager for Plastic Pollution Coalition. It is my honor to be here amongst all these incredible group of environmental leaders and to hear their stories, and to introduce my colleague and friend, Yvette Arellano. Our paths crossed with our work from the Break Free from Plastic movement and our involvement working with them on federal policy and around plastic pollution and production issues around the pollution with that as well. And really, I got to know deeper Yvette's story when I participate on panels for the story of plastic screenings. Our work on the issues associated with plastic production and pollution on the surface appear to be complete opposite sides of the spectrum. If you were to describe our work as words of a rap song, as the founder of the Last Plastic Straw, the work I do in introducing people to the issue may be the hook of the song, but Yvette's work is the substance and the story that needs to be told. And it keeps people moved and engaged on a deeper level well after they've learned the song. They might be hearing some of the words that maybe the court jester has said, but the deeper feeling levels really happens on these panels when we're together and talking about this issue. So it's been great. They've been a great colleague to work with in the plastic pollution, environmental justice issues affecting frontline communities, and Yvette's been a leading voice in the Break Free from Plastic movement and really bringing to light the disproportionate impacts of plastic throughout the life cycle on front and fence line communities of color. They also served as part of the convening team that established the movement in the U.S. So we're just really grateful to have Yvette as part of our movement. And so it's with great love and appreciation, admiration, and respect that I, along with many of my colleagues in the movement, collectively nominated Yvette Arellano for this great award. Yvette really is the embodiment of what this award is all about. It is amazing to have the opportunity to celebrate and award Yvette for all the important work they have done and continues to do. We count ourselves lucky to have Yvette working alongside us towards a more resilient, regenerative, and just future. It is with great pleasure that I introduce to you Yvette Arellano, the 2020 Community, I'm going to get choked up, Sentinel Award winner for environmental stewardship. Yvette.
Thank you, Jackie. You can only imagine what it's like to sit here with folks like Edith, Theresa, BJ, even Jackie, who have so much more experience than I do. So I know that a lot of you knew of my work from working with Tejas, and I want to thank Tejas for giving me the opportunity to learn everything I learned. I want to tell you a little bit about me, because I wish I was having like one-on-one talks with all of you when we're not working. I love doing what I do. I grew up in Houston, not speaking English. Get it together, Dad. To two very proud migrant parents. I love them. Me and my sisters grew up advocating for them, talking to billing agencies, landlords with cowboy hats, doctors. So advocacy, you know, growing up in a Spanish-speaking family was what we knew how to do. But it was just taking care of our families. So I just want to say that I learned a lot from them. I learned a lot from my family, from doing translations to how billing works, to how to give somebody a diabetes shot, how to take blood pressure, things like that, survival things. But my advocacy family taught me so much. I remember everything from knocking on doors to running into chemical fires. And I did it because I wish someone had done that for me. And I wish somebody had knocked on our door when Green Ooze was coming out of playgrounds I played on, when I was buying toxic products at the dollar store. And for the times when months would go on and I would have really furious rash breakouts, and it was my movement friends who gave me their medication. It was my movement friends who checked in on me when I would miss menstrual cycles for months on end. Male and non-male advocates were there to support me. I want to thank all the non-male advocates for laying the foundations for people like me to come in and just open spaces and dialogue and say we need to listen to everybody. I never planned on doing this forever, you know. And when I started doing it, I fell in love with the work because I saw what a difference it made. And I saw more and more people listening, more and more people going on things like toxic tours that either Theresa and BJ also do. And it made me really hopeful. So for whatever reason people choose to join, whether it's because their children pass away from childhood leukemia, to nurses treating people with chemical burns, or struggling to have a family, for their already born children, I want to thank everybody. And I'm gonna just throw out like a list of folks. Jackie, thanks for going around to all the Break Free folks to, you know, ask them to support this. Isabel Segarra, you taught me a lot about like legal things in Texas. Shiv, my partner John, for putting up with me. Like, we all give so much of our family time. We miss birthdays, family dinners. Thank you all. Steve with Peak Plastic, Extreme Energy, Break Free, Colette, and Gulf South Center for Law and Policy, Green Latinos, IEN, Moving Forward Network, WEI for Environmental Justice Backbone, GGJCL, Halt the Harm, Peak Plastic, Texas groups, all the Texas groups. Thank you for laying those foundations and for proving that you can do this work long-term and be okay and continue to do it no matter what. Thank you for giving me the power, strength, and love to start my own voluntary organization. BJ, Theresa, Edith, you have paved the path for folks like me. Thank you. And thank you to our host for this award ceremony. I love you all my friends who were there during my little like breakdowns or whatever. Thank you. I love you all. I'm humbled.
We're gonna try and keep it together now. That was amazing. Bless you, Yvette. Bless you. Again, it is an honor to be here as your MC this evening. I've never been able to be in a room, a big room, albeit a wired room, filled with such extraordinary human beings. And I want to reiterate that this is something that one of the things that we in the Roots Keeper team discuss is the contributions of the non-male, contributions to this movement. We, just gonna tell a quick story. We did, Sandra Steingraber and I, who was at these awards a few awards ago, and we did this thing when we were in a comment period in New York when we were fighting. They were moving forward with regulations for fracking in New York State, which has now been banned. And we did this thing that was called, they had a 30-day comment period on, I think, one of the final drafts of their EIS. And they introduced it and they started it on like December 5th, right? So they were expecting people to probably not submit a whole lot of comments during this period, right? I think in the end we had about 200,000, which was our goal, so that was good. But Sandra had this wacky, crazy idea where she said, let's get people to actually write individual comments, and we'll help people by giving them kind of, you know, just some tools and things. And at one point, we had 1,000 people that were writing comments each day, every single day, and submitting comments on different flaws in these regulations, right? Because we all know fracking can't be done safely. It's inherently damaging and disrespectful to Mother Earth. And we looked at the Google Analytics once we got through submitting those 30,000 comments that were created basically at the kind of leadership of Sandra. And I was just, you know, doing, kind of working under her, doing what she needed to do. And one of the things that were the revelations from that was that 95% of those comments were written by non-male people. So we know who to thank when we get to the end of this and we no longer have fossil fuels destroying our communities, and we're living in clean energy, clean water, and we've cleaned this whole place up. Hopefully I'll see more of it in my lifetime. I pray. But we know who to thank. Yvette, we know who to thank. Anyway, this has been a tough year. We've been struggling with the global pandemic of COVID. It has radically changed our lives and has isolated us in ways that we never could have imagined. I never could have imagined. Worse, we have watched our friends and family get sick. We've lost many to this plague. This year's also been difficult in other ways. We witnessed, sitting in a painful, agonizing front row seat, as we watched the cruel, inhuman killing of George Floyd and others. This, of course, brings into view that, again, the justice for all is a relative term when it comes to our Black brothers and sisters in this country. We are not all truly free. And that one portion of our population has a wildly different experience in their day-to-day lives, not just with law enforcement, but in more aspects than white folks can count or are aware of. I mean, speaking for myself anyway, than the other. And we're becoming more aware of the deep-seated historical reasons behind it that have never been healed nor adequately addressed. Up until we got the African American Museum in Washington, D.C., to slavery, there was merely a bench on the South Carolina coastline. That was the memorial for slavery in our country. 40 acres and a mule jack has not become a reality just yet. We narrowly dodged this year fascism, and going into this next year, we'll be contending with a new administration who is supportive, tepidly, supposedly, of this practice that we are gathering around this evening and its derivatives. Economic hardship is now setting in, and along with it comes desperation. And that's why we all, and I'm speaking for myself, must continue to lead with love, because all I have heard and seen and experienced tonight with you all is your love, your gorgeous, beautiful love. And it inspires me to keep loving and keep giving. So I just want to keep reminding myself and us and have this mantra that we share, we give, and we love. And we make each moment count. So let me give this moment my best shot. I love all of you, and I'm deeply grateful for all you do. Look around. Look at our winners this evening. Look at all of the folks that didn't win this evening. This is what love looks like, right? It's one thing for me to give to myself and what it is I need, right? And that's cool. But to give of myself to others, you know, like in Star Trek, that's like the final frontier, right? Because that's where my life has value. My value is seen through the eyes of others and the love and the value-added services that I provide to their happiness in their lives. So keep giving, all of you beautiful people. Feed people with food, but don't stop at giving just food. Give everything. I mean, how much do we really need? Give in all of your actions. Give with your heart and your emotions, and lend an ear and listen. And spiritually give. Commit to this way of life, for it is the way that has value. No one comes to the end of their life and said, darn it, if I had only fracked more. But they do come to the end of their life and say, if I had only loved more. So with that, I am excited to introduce our short film that we'll be showing this evening, which is Words Have Power. It's produced and directed by Lynn Cherry.
Hey everyone, I'm going to jump in here. We're actually going to share the film with everybody with the replay email, since we're over on time. It's about a 10-minute film. So we'll make sure everybody gets it and also post it in the discussion forum for the Sentinel Awards event, which means that we can all react to it there as well. Because we are going to transition into some reception events after David does some closing statements. And
well, I don't have a whole lot of closing statements other than to thank our sponsors, but I did have one thing that I wanted you to do, if you wouldn't mind, Ryan, and that is to just briefly share about the app that you have created and the social network. Obviously, many of us have been very, very concerned in being on Facebook with some of the revelations that have passed in the past couple of years. And the Halt to Harm Network has created a way for us to all stay connected in a different sort of environment that is supportive of who we are and our shared values. It's obviously, I think something that we're all kind of creating and providing feedback for. And Ryan has just done an amazing job of bringing this forward, and the Halt the Harm Network. And Ryan, take it away, please.
Wow. Thank you so much, David. I'd love to share this. It's a quick presentation because really you can see it yourself. And this is a project that Marty and I have been working with for a few years with Halt the Harm Network. And some of you are already in here. In fact, I see when I log in, I can see there's dozens of people that are currently online now. You can see that the event is live. It's being used as an events calendar, a community events calendar. And this is called the Campaign Network. So this is actually a social media platform that's made just for us in the movement, a shared events calendar. If you're on our email list, then you've been getting our weekly digest of events. So you can see things that are happening across the movement here. And I'm just super excited about and grateful for all the contributions of all the people that have, sat through the early stages of a new platform and continue to use it and post their events. And you can see a lot of the focus in Pennsylvania and Ohio regions, but starting to expand. You have the ability to look at events that are near you. You can really connect to all the other members in the network. And what we've done is we've actually set up the group for the Sentinel Awards so we can stay connected after this event. This is where the replay will be. It's where you can sign the thank you card that we're putting together for the recipients of the award. And it's also where you can, connect with other people that were here at this event. So I'm really excited to share that with you. And then the final thing that I'll share is the leader directory. And so this is, oops, my screen share needs to be fixed real quick, but here I come. Boom, boom, boom. Magic keyboards. Great. So the directory is a mobile app, and you can actually create an account, share your skills, share your interests. We have a lot of new features releasing constantly. Again, this is in very early stages, but we're really excited because you can install it directly on your phone, and you can actually scan through the Alliance map as well, which is a project that FracTracker started years back. And you can see all the dots on the map. All the organizations that are mentioned here tonight are on this map, and you can favorite them. And anyway, we'll be doing a big announcement at some point later, but thanks, David, for prompting me. I'm really excited to invite everybody to, stay connected. Our goal is to build a stronger and more connected movement through tools like this. And that's really what Halt the Harm is all about. We're a small team that's working to build, tools and services essentially, and help each other, support each other. That's what we do. That's our number one mission. So I'm just so honored that we get to be a part of this event, because this event really summarizes in so many ways. Thank you so much, everybody.
And so just to follow up with that, so how do people get on this network? So I know they can scan the QR code that we're looking at, and then what is the URL again if they want to go online? It's
map.halttheharm.net.
Okay.
So map.halttheharm.net, and we will email it out as well. The link I really want people to explore in a moment is we're going to be transitioning over to the breakout rooms. And so that video that we had queued up, we can still play it here, right? So while people are transitioning over, but I'm going to put links to the breakout rooms here in just a moment. And if you click on a link and it says, this meeting has not been started, just hang tight, or jump back, but know that I also just emailed you the link. So you can open your email and you will see all 4 links there at the top of your inbox. Check your spam folder if you missed it from me. I emailed everybody that was registered. So all 4 links for each of the recipients, and you can go into a breakout room with everybody. It's also one of the events here in the network. and chat and hang out with the recipients. We're not going to keep them up too late because we did go over a bit, but here is the links in the chat. You can see all 4 rooms there. And then I'm going to pop into those rooms and post the links to all 4 rooms inside each of those 4 rooms too. So you'll always be able to kind of jump back and forth and say hi to folks. So thank you so much for, hearing about this with Halt to Harm, and wow, thank you so much to everybody who spoke and presented and all the recipients. I'm so humbled and honored.
Indeed. As well am I. And with no further ado, why don't folks get into their rooms? Thank you so much. Sorry for the technical issues at the top of the show, and bless you all, and keep fighting. Keep fighting with love. Good night.
Say hi, Jasa. Jasa, say hi.
When I was 6, I had a horrible asthma attack to the point where I actually had to exert myself breathing because I had so much trouble pulling air into my lungs.
My sister-in-law was a nurse, and she got her stethoscope and checked Jasa, threw her in my arms, and told me to rush her to the emergency room right now.
A lot of kids in my school have trouble breathing and have to be hospitalized.
Room right now.
A lot of kids in my school have trouble breathing and have to be hospitalized. I know it was really hard for some kids in gym. There was like an entire cabinet filled with asthma medicine. This is the coal-fired power plant.
The coal plant spews a lot of toxins, so I knew that that had something to do with why my daughter had an asthma attack.
Bridgeport, Connecticut is right on Long Island Sound. My neighborhood isn't very rich. I don't know why there are so many plants in Bridgeport. There's the garbage plant, the sewage plant, the landfill, and the coal-fired power plant. I started searching up power plants, and when I saw how it actually affected people, I thought, that's horrible. I actually have to do something about this. PSEG is the company that runs the power plant in my neighborhood.
PSEG knew what was in their smokestacks.
I really wish I could get into other people's head, like people in the PSEG, what are they thinking putting polluting power plants in our backyard? I think it may be a case of environmental racism. Up in Westport, they have like mowed lawns, like picture perfect. And this is the most important thing, no power plants. No rich white neighborhood would ever allow some power plant to just be built in their backyard. So what companies do is pick a neighborhood that's poor, and usually these neighborhoods are colored neighborhoods. Some people have had a really big impact on my life. Harriet Tubman proved that if you put your mind to it, you will be able to free yourself from oppression. Martin Luther King proved that not every conflict has to be solved with violence. My mom is my hero because she helps make the world a better place. She's the first sergeant in the Army Reserves. My dad, he's a musician, so he's able to inspire people and make them happy. He plays reggae music because he was born in Jamaica. This group called Healthy Connecticut Alliance asked me if I wanted to do this event speaking to the city hall because I had asthma and I've been affected by it. And I said, yeah, okay.
She's come on stage with me a few times. She came on stage and she took the microphone from me and walked away with it. She's there performing a dance. I'm like, this girl, she has no fear. I was so proud of her. I was surprised when I heard that she was writing her own speeches.
Hello everyone, my name is Jason Millers. I am 10 years old and I attend Bryan School.
I didn't know if anybody would listen to me.
I am here today to talk about retiring the coal plant and restricting other bad polluters from polluting Bridgeport.
Because when you're a kid, it's hard to get anybody to listen to you.
I didn't know that I was breathing bad air. In fact, I know that Fairfield County has the worst air pollution in the state. I know that because I'm smart and I looked it up on the internet.
That led to a long road of fighting and testifying. I just say what I'm feeling, and it sounds a lot more powerful when you talk from the heart.
It came out that they were going to close the power plant, and I had to hear it a couple of times. Are you sure? Is that what they said? Where is it in writing?
When I found out, I was just ecstatic because we worked so hard to get this place shut down, and it was just really satisfying to know that all of our hard work paid off and that it wouldn't be hurting anybody anymore.
Hi!
Even though I didn't have money, I had words, and words have power.
Together for the big tomorrow.
All right. Thanks everyone who's still here. It's so cool. This has been such an awesome event. We're going to wrap up this main event Zoom meeting here so that we can get into the receptions. If you open up the chat, I have posted links to all 4 of the reception rooms. They're all active right now. There's people in them. You should see my office right now. I have computer screens with different Zoom rooms open. And it's really funny. So anyway, yeah, I am so glad that you all came. Thank you so much. I'll be sending out the replay. If you've been watching on Facebook, then hello to all of you that are watching there. I'm going to post one more time in the chat the link to join the platform, the campaign network that we're using to connect and chat and say hi to each other. And then I'll also post a link to the map that we created at halttoharm.net. So I look forward to connecting with each of you there. And like I said, we're going to end this Zoom meeting now. And send me an email if you get stuck or need any help. I'm happy to, help you get into the reception. And if you're going to wrap up your evening, then good night and thank you. Okay. Take care, everyone.